Yeah.
tell you that right now.
Water and sewer lines, serving both residential and commercial properties. Plumber office is located
I
at
was looking.
509.
Something like
The main number is 928-267-3411.
And thank you to One Time Plumber for sponsoring our KRIM Community Spotlight program. Good morning, Rim Country. Chris Higgins in the studio this morning, this lovely Monday morning. Hope everyone enjoyed that nice cooler weather this weekend. It is so nice to not have 90-degree days.
Yeah.
At least I feel that way. Don't know about you guys, but that's how I feel. Well, this morning we are going to be talking about the Payson Unified School District Budget Override Continuation. And in the studio this morning, we have Audra Bailey and Linda Gibson, both members of the Payson Citizens for Excellence in Academics. And we're hopefully going to get information out, accurate information, about the Budget Override Continuation, what it is, what it isn't. So it's always good to get information. If you wanted to visit their website or get more information, it's paysoneducation.com, and the group is also on Facebook, Payson Citizens for Excellence in Academics. So there's always great little bits of info on the Facebook page, and goodness, all of it on the website. So thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thanks for
Audra,
having us.
Linda, oh, you're
Thank
so
you.
welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yes, so where would you like to start?
Well, everyone should have their mail-in ballots.
Yes,
And
that's right.
we are at the very end of the ballot, the
Mhm.
very last. It's a question, is what it's
Mhm.
called. And it's at the very bottom of your ballot, second
Okay.
page.
Yep.
And it says, should PUSD continue? And we are here to encourage folks to vote yes, to
Mhm.
continue the override that's been in place. And that's why we're here today.
Mm-hmm. Great, and so it's on the ballot bottom, a question.
Yes.
And there are quite a few propositions.
There
on the
are.
ballot.
I had a community member also share with me like, oh, I almost missed it. I didn't even see it. So we encourage everybody to do the first and the last. Go to the first of your ballot and then to the very last of your ballot. The bottom corner when you
Okay.
turn to the second page. And again, a vote yes is not a tax increase. It is not a new tax. It's a continuation of what's been in place since 2005.
Mhm.
And an override is tax or voters within our district boundaries. We have to ask, or the school district has to go out and ask for their approval for these funds.
Mhm.
I know we were talking just a little bit before we went live about small school windows and about other schools within our county, and what that looks like and why some don't have it and how they qualify for other funds
Mhm.
within there. So again, please go do the beginning of your ballot and do the very end. It was noted that the propositions stand out a little more than the question of should we continue? And we are here to ask our voters for a yes vote in that continuation.
Okay, and something, oh goodness, what was I gonna ask? Oh, the amounts, we were talking also before the program, as far as how much is the override, like what is the number that is associated with the override?
The override brings in 1.6 million per year. For this last budget year, it was 1.6 million. It's 10% of our maintenance and operations budget, which is what we use more or less, most people would know it as a general fund.
Mhm.
It has restrictions, but it is more general. It's where we pay our salaries and benefits for 85% of our district.
Okay.
Comes from our general fund or our maintenance and operations fund. And so this 1.6 additional 10% is what allows us to offer above and beyond type programs such as PE, art, music, dual enrollment, which is so important to our families. This is where we can spend a little bit more than what the state funding formula allows, so we can have these above and beyond projects.
And as far as the amount, the tax
The
itself.
tax rate.
The tax rate, people can, and property taxes have just gone out, so you can see, you know, how much, and you were saying per 100,000.
Per 100,000 of assessed value, not
Mhm.
full cash value, but if
Yep.
you look at your tax bill, and believe it or not, there are homes that are assessed at a
$100,000.
100,000. We have
Mhm.
employees in our district, and so currently it's gone down to $49.93 per 100.
Okay.
Last year it was 52, but it actually did go down because the assessed valuation of the entire, the property assessed value went up, and
Okay.
that's,
One of the things with that too, Audra bringing it up, is a voter information pamphlet went out, I want to say about a month ago, it seems like it was about 4 weeks ago, about the PUSD override. And you'll see in there that it has a tax rate of $51 per $100,000.
Okay.
That pamphlet is created well in advance before the final assessed values come in.
Okay.
So it's a pretty accurate number, that $51 per 100,000, but what we have found, because of the changes at the assessed value rate, that it's actually going down to $49 per $100,000 within there. So I share that because the last thing that we want is people to say that we're giving misinformation or what's printed and what isn't. That $49, we just became aware in the last couple weeks of that change in there and wanted to just share that with our voters of the more current accurate numbers within that. It'll ebb and flow as to assessed value and also to our base M&O allocation. So if we have a drastic increase to student enrollment, we refer to it more as the average daily membership, and we won't necessarily get into that because that can be a little complicated, then you would see our base allocation from the state increase. Therefore, the override dollars would potentially increase as well. So there's some pieces that ebb and flow that affect that rate that goes to property taxes within voters or within our district boundaries.
and one of the misinformations that we've been hearing is if more things are built and more tax, more people are paying, that the school gets more, and that is not true.
Gotcha,
We
okay.
have a set amount based on our budget, and it doesn't go up if there are more people paying property taxes. It's spread across the entire assessed evaluation. We don't get more if the county is collecting more.
So in that scenario, or with that being said, if there are more people that move move to homes within the Payson Unified School District boundaries, then the amount that each person is paying, each home is paying, it
The
does go down.
percentage goes
The
down.
percentage
Yes.
goes down.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so
Some
is it a
people-
case where more is collected, like you said, and the school's getting more, the rate or the percentage goes down if the population increases, there's more
Correct.
homes being purchased or built within the Payson Unified School District?
And, right.
But
and that's
we
what
don't
the
get
business is.
more based on the number of people. We have there's a set formula, so.
And that, it's based on our base allocation and then the rate is created from that number in terms of what assessed value overall within our district boundary stands.
So if we have we can take our student numbers times the formula, and then we divide that over the assessed value, and that's how the percentage is. So we don't get more, what we get is based on our student enrollment.
And we
Gotcha.
certainly have nothing to do with determining assessed value. That is provided for us.
No, you
in that
definitely don't have
sense,
anything
yes.
to do with that, right?
You know, I think it's important to share with the public is that oftentimes when it appears that it can't be this complicated, I can tell you it is this complicated when it comes to public school finance. It sometimes does not make sense, and we encourage people to ask questions for clarification rather than making assumptions. One recent question that was asked of me was about administration within the district. And what came to me with that question was, well, it's that simple. You just need to subtract the number of certified teachers from all employees, and that's your administration. That is not an accurate definition of administration. When you look at state statute and you look at the Auditor's General Report on the definition of administration, we have under 30 administrators.
Okay.
If you also look at a third way to look at administration is how many people are paid on the administrative salary schedule, which is determined by the board, which determines what pay in certain positions. There are 13 administrative positions on that salary schedule, and there are 12 employees that fill those 13. One of our employees actually fills 2 positions within that, and that's our Assistant Superintendent, Katrina Sacco. So there's always lots of different ways to look at something, and we certainly by no means are here to say, well, we're looking at it from this view or that view. We want to make sure that everybody can understand the numbers accurately and be as transparent as we possibly can. How do we say it in a different way, but yet we're still looking at the same numbers within the whole system here is what is important to us, so that people can understand it. And with that is sharing to those, well, there's multiple ways to look at administration, but if we want to go with the legal, based on state statute, we have less than 30 administrators. So it's just, again, not as simple as it seems like it should be by any means, and please ask questions rather than making assumptions.
Gotcha. And all of this information and much, much more is on the Payson Citizens for Excellence in Academics website. It's paysoneducation.com. Also, there's a Facebook page, Payson Citizens for Excellence in Academics, where you can get information as well. One of the things you mentioned before the program, Audra, was some people also have been asking, well, why don't we vote, or why don't residents vote on Pine Strawberry School District or the Tonto Basin School District? Why don't we vote on them receiving override continuation?
That is one of the questions we've been asked, and they are K-8 school districts, and they have under 100 students. And the state allows for them to have something called a small school adjustment, and they, in essence, they get the same, they get the same amount that we're asking for, but without having to go to the taxpayers because of the way the statute is written. So they do have on their budget forms, they have something called a small school adjustment. And so they do ask their community in to help offset but they don't have to go to the voters.
Gotcha.
Because they have it by state statute. So if they looked on their tax bills, they would see a small school adjustment, or if it's not specifically called out on the tax bill, it would be in the budget, the school budget. So Pine Strawberry currently has $1.9 million small school adjustment, and Tonto Basin has a $1.2 million small school adjustment. So the schools that don't qualify for the small school adjustment, they have an override that they've asked their taxpayers for. So it's fairly common. It's just different ways to get the same amount of funding.
And it's an avenue that the state of Arizona has deemed appropriate for schools to have more than what the base formula allocates for, and in their efforts to make things equitable for all public schools in the state of Arizona. We were not going to get into it, but when you talk about the equalization formula, what comes from property taxes and what comes from the state, it varies from school to school. The formula is the same for each school to school. So it's important to look at those numbers. And I know we've had some conversations lately, and it has been out there about what really comes from property taxes and so forth. And if anybody is interested in diving into that, please call Audra. I mean, she spent some extensive amount of time analyzing the last 4 years of property taxes, what comes in, as well as where does that money go. one of the things also is that all avenues of public school funding have restrictions with them. There is nothing that's a free-for-all. The only way that the school district could say, we can spend this money any way we want, is if somebody said, I'm gonna give you a gifts and donation and you can do whatever you want with it.
Gotcha. Wow,
Very
okay.
rarely, even gifts and donations, do they come into the district without being earmarked for something specific. Even if it's for athletics, or whether it's for band, or whether it's for a classroom, or whether it's for STEAM, or whether it's for teacher appreciation, generally speaking, they have a tag to it, and that money therefore then can only be used in that capacity. The important thing to understand is maintenance and operations. As Audra said previously, we are well above, or well in the middle of the 80 percentile of those funds going to employee salaries and benefits. When you hear a 10% override of maintenance and operations, again, 1.6 million that comes in on that goes directly to teachers. It funds 24 teaching positions, their salaries and benefits. It does not touch anything else. Even though maintenance and operations dollars can touch other items, this 1.6 does not by any means whatsoever. And Audra, as our Director of Business Services within Payson Unified School District, and previous directors, Kathy Manning recently retired, every year a report has to go to the school board and to the state of where those funds specifically go to. So we can show that, the district can show that, can prove that that's exactly where it goes, because that's what we told the voters it would go to. And
We
so
can't use it for anything
we
else.
can't, and we wouldn't. We stand by our word with integrity in terms of how we manage public funds within Payson Unified School District, and it clearly shows with our audit reports of being 0 findings and the awards that our finance department has won over the course of many, many years.
So, yeah, that's, I think that's something that when I talk to people, or when you listen to people, they see money. They just see maybe a large amount, or they say, wow, this is a significant amount.
Yeah.
Why can't you just put this towards this? And why can't you just shift those dollars around? And in most cases, you just don't have that ability, because certain dollars are earmarked or designated or restricted to go towards funding certain things, certain operations, maintenance.
And
like
it's
you
not
said.
us as the superintendent and the business director, or teachers or principals, it's not employees determining what those things are earmarked for. It's the restrictions that those are set by legislation and state statutes that really drive the decisions that are made. There's very little flexibility within that. And that's hard to understand, because when you look at, if you add up every account, which is something that's been brought up within our community, at the end of the year, and you add every account that the school district has to it looks like a pretty good hefty chunk of change. And I asked this of a community member. I said, why would anyone, why would somebody believe that if we were hoarding, the school district was hoarding, per se, that word has been used, $10 million, $8 million, $9 million, and why would we be going to ask for the voters for 1.6 if we had 4 times that already, or 5 times that? We wouldn't. We would not be doing that. That would be foolish. That would be greedy in that sense. And I can tell you that Payson Unified School District is prideful on working within the confines that we have. And the students that come out of Payson Unified School District and what they contribute to society is profound. We have people across this globe who have graduated from Payson Unified School District doing good for mankind, from
Military.
all over the place. And so with that, and we have people who have come up from bigger school districts and have said, I've never seen so much happening. Even I know somebody from Pinnacle High School Pinnacle School District who was astonished with the senior interviews that we go through with students, or the personal connections to be really invested in our students is happening. So lots of our teachers or our faculty from that, a lot of great things are happening in Payson Unified School District. And this is one way a vote of yes allows us to continue to foster those great things happening.
And something that was mentioned, what the budget override continuation goes towards funding, dual enrollment. And recently there was an article that highlighted the record number of dual enrollment that students, record number of students. So I believe 145 students.
Yes, that was our latest report from the high school and from Aspire, working closely together to allow students an opportunity free of charge to take college level classes.
Wow.
We have students who are walking into college or university with 2 years and potentially their associate's degree if they went a little bit even more above and beyond. The focus for students graduating from Payson High School is either A, they're joining the military, B, they have a full-time career or job, C, that they are going to college or university, and even more so that we stress through our career and technical education programs that they're going to a trade school. Because I think we all know that the service industry of trades, we are desperately in need across our country of supporting those programs, and we do through all of our career and technical education programs that we have at the high school. Our programs are winning not only state awards but also national awards as well. So.
Yes, it's very impressive, and I always encourage people to get involved or to participate or go support the students here, whether it's going to the games, you know, the athletic programs. There's different events that the CTE programs will have. I know one is coming up, the Spooky Fest, November 2nd.
Yes.
So student government and others, you know, other groups coming together to put that on, and that's a community event. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, there's a play, the Radium Girls, so you can support our students that way, and just you can see what they're doing
Firsthand.
Firsthand.
We had like a month, I think it was about a month ago, even a masonry contest that's held here annually through our construction trades, and I know Glenna Spurlock, our culinary teacher, she had shared on our professional development day this past Friday about taking a group of students down to a culinary competition event, and she said, made a comment that they didn't win top place, but they certainly had a lot of people coming over asking for their, they did a pork recipe, and I believe it was pork butt recipe, if I'm not mistaken, when she shared it, saying, and she goes, the number of people coming to ask for what we made, even if we didn't win the top, that alone, that's what keeps a restaurant open, right? In that respect. So lots of great things, and shared that you know, they didn't return home till 1 in the morning, and you know, then we had, for example, at the Access Culture Group just on Saturday, our middle school debate team that was doing a rough go through to get some practice time in, and they are off to a competition as well here shortly and down in the valley, and so the programs and those faculty and staff doing it on their time and giving back above and beyond what the expectation of the job is, and that's about having a passion for working with young people and not it just being a job.
And also this weekend our band just competed in, I believe, the Valley.
They did.
A competition in the Valley, so yeah, there's just so many great things our students are doing, involved with. So again, that's where I really encourage people in the community, see for yourself.
I think that's what makes our school great, is our connections with the kids. No matter what your job is, I'm not a teacher, but I've made connections with kids that are lifelong. And I'm so proud of our kids, and when I hear about the scholarship money that they're offered, I'm amazed. I don't even have kids of my own, but I feel like these are our community, these are our kids. They stay in our community, they serve at our doctor's offices, they become doctors, nurses, firemen, all of the things that we love about our community starts with the hub of our school.
And we want them to come back and
Yes.
provide those services in our community, especially as we age and retire. And so building a prosperous community so they have something to look forward to coming back home to as well is what will continue to make our community that place where people want to be.
I know, and I'm starting to see now, because I'm around that age or at that point, being in the community for a certain amount of time, to where we're seeing PHS graduates coming back to work in the school district. There are quite a few working at Banner Payson Medical Center there, or other medical offices.
Yeah, we
in
have
the
2 flight
community.
nurses that are PHS graduates.
2 flight nurses. Then you see also in public safety, on our police force,
Yes.
our firefighters,
Yes,
Gila County Sheriff's Office.
yes.
You're just starting to see
Yes.
more and more of our graduates, the graduates that are working in these.
Productive members of
Yeah.
society.
Yeah, vital roles.
And those also starting to have children and believing in the school district and having pride of where they went to school for their children to come back and go to school, and seeing that that the school district continues to have these programs is because of the support within our voters to vote yes on the override. And again, it's that last question on the ballot, if you have yet to open your ballot or when you go to the polls. Last question on the second page, but we want them to return. I know your children, Chris, my children, for that sake, to bring back and be here, and that connection of family and that connection of support with families, knowing families, is very powerful and very positive.
Yeah, it is good to see, great to see. Again, if you are looking for more information or need to get questions answered, or you want to verify numbers or information that you were told and that you heard, you can go to the website. It's paysoneducation.com, and that is the website put together by Payson Citizens for Excellence in Academics. There's also a Facebook page, and there's a phone number on the website that you can call, on the Facebook page.
I can be reached at
Okay.
928-978-0270. That's Audra Bailey. So
Okay,
any questions about any of the numbers, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
great. And yeah, there's another number on here as well. So there are plenty of people that are making themselves available to you to answer your questions, to talk to you about the PUSD Budget Override Continuation. So please do not hesitate if you are uncertain or you do have questions.
Yes. Lastly on that, on the Payson Unified School District as well website, there's a frequently asked questions page, things that have come up since the discussion of override has started last spring that we've continued to update as well.
Nice, very, very nice. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, Chris.
10:30, so yeah, it goes quick, but hopefully, yes, people please, visit the website, Facebook page, get any questions you have answered. It's very important that we continue to support our
Yes.
youth.
It is nonpartisan. Please vote yes.
No, that's a big one, yes. All right, well, thank you, ladies, and thank you, everyone, for listening and watching this morning. I hope you have a wonderful day, and know that I'll be down at Gilbert Christian, live streaming Payson volleyball. Our girls down at Gilbert Christian today, and Gilbert Christian ranked number 3 in the state. So a big, big game for the girls. So hopefully you can watch that or drive down there. Only an hour and a half, and it's not that hot down there right now. So it's a very nice time to go down. So.
Absolutely. Thank you,
All right.
Chris. Appreciate your
Thank you so
support.
much. Thank you guys, and have a wonderful day. Coming up now, we have a quick update from the National Weather Service, and then we're going to get back to the music with some Yes, Billy Joel, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and more.
With this morning's KRIM weather forecast.